Okay, I'd like to call the October meeting of the Public Safety Committee to order. Motion to approve last month's minutes.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Well, okay. You got the second, Libby? Okay. All right, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, privilege of the floor. Is there anybody here for privilege of the floor? Once again, privilege of the floor? If not, we'll close privilege of the floor. Okay, number one, renew and amend Resolution 22724, authorize agreement with Clymer Central School District for school resource officer. Folks, for the thousands of people that are watching, or maybe hundreds.
Sheriff Jim Quattrone.
Riley Unlow, Fiscal Supervisor.
Okay. Folks, what do we have here?
So we are renewing and amending the resolution 22724 that was brought to the committee last month. We are extending the agreement through June 30th, 2025.
The time period, right?
Yes, basically it was an error, and we also had to add in the resolved clause that the county executive be and hereby is authorized to enter into an agreement and execute an agreement with Clymer School.
Okay. Jim's fault, but we won't hold that against him. Okay, so,
I always agree with you, Chairman.
not always. Okay, so this is just for discussion. I guess we're going to actually vote on this at the meeting next Wednesday. That's correct, Olivia? Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Committee questions on this one?
Well, yeah, just a quick question.
Tom,
Why
go ahead.
wouldn't the committee have to pass this first? Maybe it's,
The legislature tabled it, so it has to be brought back up and tabled by the legislature.
okay, but not, we don't have to act on it.
This is
Okay.
just kind of a heads up.
Gotcha.
Just a discussion, I guess, Tom.
Yeah,
That's
just
what
a
was explained to
clarification.
me.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
okay.
It's just, this is more or less like a formality, isn't it? Because I'm pretty sure I've seen it in paper, front page of the paper.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Mhm.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions of the sheriff or Riley? Okay, if not, guys, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, next we have proposed resolution, confirm appointments, Chautauqua County Fire Advisory Board.
Front page of the paper today.
Well, you don't look like Bonnie or Noel.
Nope. James Feldman from the County Executive's Office.
Okay, James.
So we have this proposed resolution to fill 2 of our 3 vacancies on the Fire Advisory Board. So we have Mark Zamboric replacing Jordan Bailey. Jordan was promoted up to the Battalion 3 coordinator, so he couldn't serve in that role anymore on the board, so he's being replaced. And then Andrew Caruso is going to be replacing Charles Piazza, who resigned from the board. Both of them were voted on by Battalion 3 and they passed their names along to us. We do still have 1 opening in Battalion 1 that is not yet filled.
No takers for that one yet?
Not yet.
Could be you, Terry.
I don't think so. Committee, any questions of Jim on this?
Nope.
If not, Jim, thank you. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, next we have proposed resolution number 3, authorize acceptance of 2024-2025 aid to prosecution funds.
Good afternoon, committee. Madeline Contaglia from the District Attorney's Office. So this resolution that we have before you today is to authorize the acceptance of the aid to prosecution funds for the 2024-2025 fiscal year. The contract is to run from April 1st of this year through March 31st of next year. And it's funds that are to be utilized to offset expenses incurred by the district attorney's office during the performance period related to the prosecution of felony crimes, but particularly violent felony offenses. We've decided to put the total amount into our 2025 tentative budget to offset some of the increase in positions that we had proposed to you. The entire amount is $760,090, and it will be, like I said, totally put into the next year. So we're going to be deferring the revenue at the end of this year and putting it into revenue for next year. And the revenue for this amount has been included in our tentative budget for 2025.
Okay, Mandy, in the grant is for the state fiscal year, April 1st to March 31st.
Yes.
Okay. Committee questions of Mandy on this one? If not, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, you have another one.
I do have another one.
Okay. The next one, authorize acceptance of 2023-2024 aid to prosecution funds, illegal fentanyl prosecution.
So our office has been awarded a grant in the amount of $200,000 from the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services pursuant to the aid to prosecution for the prosecution and investigation of illegal fentanyl. This was a grant that we had not applied for, we did not expect, and it was awarded to us kind of by surprise, a nice surprise. But it's to offset the expenses incurred by our office during the performance period to disrupt the flow of illegal fentanyl into Chautauqua County. So it would include the investigation and prosecution of illegal fentanyl. It's set to run from April 1st of 2023 is the beginning of the performance period, but it allowed, the parameters of the grant allowed us to use it until the entire amount has been expended by our office. So we don't have to use it specifically in 23, 24, 25. We can just use pieces of it that we would be using to prosecute this type of offense throughout the years until the amount has been totally expended. So as I said, this was an unexpected grant, so it was not included in our 2024 adopted budget. So we would also like to amend our budget to increase it by $50,000 while also increasing the state revenue by $50,000, which would be used to purchase some software and equipment that's utilized in the prosecution of narcotic offenses.
All state funds, no county share.
No county share.
Okay. Committee, questions on this one?
So we're just amending the 24 budget?
Yes, so we didn't include anything into the 2025 tentative budget because we're not sure what we're gonna need it for. So if we decide that there's some equipment that we'd like to purchase or software or training, we'll come back to you and amend our 2025 budget to increase the revenue for the same amount. So we're just using 50,000 of it this year, and then we'll be deferring the remaining 150,000 at the end of next year, and then we'll defer it or use it as needed until it's been expensed.
That was my next question. Thank you.
Gotcha.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Mandy, thanks.
Thank you, committee.
Okay. All right, next, proposed resolution, amend 2024 budget to implement the Outward Inclusion and Performance Project using funding from the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA. Okay, you're back.
I am back. Sheriff Jim Quattrone.
Riley Unlaw, fiscal supervisor.
So this resolution is for the outward inclusion, implement outward inclusion and performance. It's an extension of we did the outward leadership previously. Actually, we just finished those training days, Monday and Tuesday. And this is, outward performance is for the entire agency, as well as the outward inclusion. This using ARPA funding to fund the $90,000, and this will be a program that we'll start implementing likely by the end of the year, if not the first part of next year.
It's good stuff.
As I mentioned, we just did the outward leadership, one cohort Thursday and Friday, and the other cohort Monday and Tuesday. And I really wasn't sure how the supervisors would accept it. And they seem to very much enjoy the training and already are able to put it to use. So it's a good practice.
Okay, committee, any other questions of the sheriff or Riley? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thanks, guys. Okay, next, amend the 2024 budget to implement the server replacement and upgrades project using funding from the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA. Okay, John.
Good afternoon, John D'Angelo, Chief Information Officer for the county. So this resolution takes a project that was approved in the tentative budget under capital and moves it for 2025 and moves it into 2024 with funded by ARPA funds instead of the capital project for 2025. It's a $268,000 project, which includes the replacement and upgrade of servers and controllers that operate all the doors in the jail and in the court system. So pretty important devices for sure. And so this is again, it was approved into the tentative budget, and the ARPA committee with leftover funds thought that it would be a good idea to fund it instead of capital using ARPA funds. So they requested that I move it into the 2024 budget. And so that's what this is doing. And we'll be able to, it's basically a turnkey solution with one provider. So we'll be able to secure the funding with purchase order and contract by the end of the year so that it meets the ARPA requirements.
John, so you've moved this project up a year?
Correct.
Okay. Committee.
Who's the provider to do this?
The company is called Securitas.
Where are they from?
I believe they're out of Rochester, but I could be either Buffalo or Rochester.
Other questions? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. Thanks, Jim. Okay. Next, amend the 2024 budget to transfer American Rescue Plan ARPA spending plan budget for the PPE replacement project.
Good
Hi,
afternoon.
Sam.
Hi. Good afternoon. Sam Zaffuto, Deputy Director of Finance. This resolution is to transfer funds from the Department of Health, actually Environmental Health, where the PPE ARPA project was awarded to the Department of EMS. The Chief Medical Officer, EMS Director, and our Director of Admin Services, to move the project along and make sure we complete this on time, have collaborated to try and move this project forward to completion. This was the portion that EMS was allowed to purchase. We just need to amend the budget at this point for what they brought in, both on the revenue and expense side.
Okay. Committee, questions of Sam on this resolution? Kind of self-explanatory,
Yep, that one's easy.
Sam. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sam. Folks, that's about it. Does anybody have anything under other? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We're adjourned. Thank you.
And them all broken in. I'll do a quick meeting while you're off.
Apparently so.